And we're back. So, hey guys! I took a unplanned sort of holiday from this channel for a few months because of boring things like life and stuff, but one of the reasons was much more exciting because I took an actual holiday to the UK, which is my utter dream location. I was there for an entire month and I was just in heaven the entire time. Like, I think I just perpetually walked around like this, humming songs from my favourite British musicals. Also Hedwig's theme, because it turns out that practically everything in the UK is Harry Potter related, if you try hard enough. Obviously, being on holidays, you do tend to do a little bit more shopping than you might usually, and I more than made up of my year of very restrained book buying last year with this quite hefty pile of joy. I think it's time for a haul. We spent more than a week in London in total, but we also took a little day trip to Oxford, and oh my god, it was just an absolute literary nerd's dreamland. I got to see the building where Lewis Carroll lived and the section of the river where he went boating with the Liddell sisters, where he first told the story of Alice in Wonderland. Just, yeah, it was too much awesome for one day. Once I had calmed down from my unreasonable state of euphoria, we stumbled across the Oxford University Press bookshop, which sells books obviously published by the Oxford University Press. I bought 4 books from there because really, how can you not buy books from the place where they're published? The first 3 are in the very short introduction series, which are these little tiny gems of knowledge on a whole range of subjects, and I've seen these in a bunch of different places, but I had no idea there was so many in this series. So I picked 3, which I think sum up my interests and personality pretty well. Languages, galaxies, and feminism. Yeah, that's pretty much me. I also bought another copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, which I really don't feel like I even have to justify. I'm very happy to add this one to my little collection of Alice books. Although, interesting fact, and by that I really mean interesting to me and like maybe to other people if I'm lucky, this actually has a really bad misprint in it and it skips out an entire paragraph within the first couple of chapters of the book. Good job, Oxford University Press. Good job. The author literally worked here and you have somehow managed to mess up his key work. Nice one. When we were in Oxford, we also visited the Bodleian Library and the adorable little shop where I got another Alice related book. This one is the Alice in Wonderland colour primer, which is just so cute. It goes through a bunch of characters from the story and just uses adorable illustrations of them to teach colours, which I think is just super cute. I mean, it's obviously really heavily influenced by the Tim Burton movie, but I don't care because adorable. Then we visited the British Library, and honestly this video is going to be mostly Alice related because I bought 2 more Alice books. This teeny tiny Jabberwocky is in the same series as the Alice colour primer, and I think it's just as adorable. This one actually goes through and tells the story using lots of the nonsense words from the poem, and I think it's just really sweet. Although for some reason they leave out the section where the child decapitates the monster. What's the deal with that? Since when is decapitation not an appropriate theme for a preschool audience? Political correctness gone mad. And when I saw this little one I just couldn't resist. It's called Treasures in Focus, Alice's Adventures Underground, and it's just sections of Charles Lord Dodson's original drawings and his original manuscript of the book. So it's just cool little snippets of the original story in his handwriting, which I just think is kind of cute. And the last one from the British Library is Mother Night by Kurt Vonnegut. I read Slaughterhouse 5 last year, and like every other person who has ever read it, I thought it was just absolutely incredible. And I've been listening to an audiobook of Breakfast of Champions for a while now, but it's read by Stanley Tucci, and more often than not I realise that I'm just listening to how wonderful his voice is and not paying any attention whatsoever to what the story is actually about. Whoops. But I figured I needed more Vonnegut in my life, and this one sounded like a pretty cool place to start. I mean, not cool like it's about a Nazi propagandist, but interesting, an interesting place to start. Another museum bookshop that we spent way too much time in was the Tate bookshop because, oh my gosh, it was just probably one of the most beautiful bookstores I've ever been in, and if I didn't have a weight limit on my suitcase, I could have just taken armfuls of books home. But I was restrained and I only got these 3. These 2 little ones are pretty similar to the Oxford University Press ones, except they have pictures. Ooh, exciting. They had so many of these that covered so many interesting topics, and I ummed and ahed for ages about which ones to get, but in the end I picked up philosophy and semiotics. Also from the Tate, I got this really beautiful copy of Books v Cigarettes by George Orwell because I love a bit of George. I read his essay about public school, which was called Such Were the Joys, and I really liked that one. I love his fiction, so I figured I should branch more out into his essays. Plus this is just embossed and it's just, oh, beautiful book. The next one is The Beach by Alex Garland, which I know practically nothing about, except that everyone says that it's weird and kind of disturbing, but I like weird books, so Plus I bought this from a really cute little cafe slash bookstop in Brighton, and I figured Brighton, the beach, it just made sense. Obviously I had to buy it, I had no choice. Speaking of weird, Them by Jon Ronson. I read this all in one go and it was just so good. It's all about extremists focusing on belief in the Illuminati and the Bilderberg Group, and it's about people from vastly different ideologies who believe in that world order plan for world domination. It was just super duper interesting. Plus, look at this cover. If this does not make you curious about the sort of people who believe these things and why they believe it, then frankly, I have no hope for you. And this last little cutie is the first one I got. I just got it from a Waterstone somewhere. This is the novelisation of My Neighbour Totoro, which I didn't even know existed. My Neighbour Totoro was one of my favourite films when I was a kid, and it introduced me to the absolutely magic world of Miyazaki, so I absolutely jumped at the chance to have this story in another form. Plus I just think the book itself is just really nicely done, and the end papers have like acorns all over them, and it's got some of Miyazaki's original sketches in it. I don't know if you're gonna ever see that, but it's just really, really sweet. So there we go, my first video in friggin' forever. Hopefully the next one won't be too far away, but I just wanted to say thank you for sticking with me. Even though I abandoned you for months at a time, I still love you, Booktube. As always, let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of the books that I showed today. Let me know what you thought of them, and also let me know what the most ridiculous thing that you've impulse bought on holidays was, because for the moment, this Hufflepuff scarf tops the list for me, and I need to know that I'm not the only one who makes decisions like this. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye. Oh, it didn't even work. Oh, that's better.